So we got a quick question on Instagram. Kid M asked, my I-130 petition is accepted and they transfer my case to the National Visa Center. We haven't received any email from the National Visa Center for 1 week. So that's a good question. Let's talk process. So when you submit an I-130 petition, this is a family petition. You're a U.S. citizen or green card holder, you're applying for a spouse, children, parents, siblings, something like that. Once it gets approved, they transfer the case to the National Visa Center. Now, for cases like brother and sisters, adult children, stuff like that, you might get a letter from the embassy in some time, but because those cases have a backed up line, don't expect anything too soon. However, if you have a case that goes faster, for example, a marriage case, a minor child case, or a parent case, that should happen relatively faster. So it takes between 1 week to 6 weeks on average, sometimes 8 weeks, for the National Visa Center, which is the first step in the next step. So you start with USCIS, U.S. Immigration Department first, to submit an I-130 petition to show that you have this real relationship with this relative abroad. It's not a fake relationship. Once they approve that, if the relative is outside the United States, they go through consular processing. That's the general title for that program. And for consular processing, the first step is dealing with the National Visa Center. They're an agency that collects all the initial documents that the government needs before being willing and open to scheduling an in-person embassy interview appointment for the foreign national who's going to be doing a green card request. So, you know, that transition from USCIS, the internal immigration part in the U.S., to the Department of State and the agency within a sub-agency called the National Visa Center, there's a transition process that can take 1, 2 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. If it takes longer than 8 weeks, you definitely need to contact them to make sure that everything's okay. And one thing you want to do is check out your I-130 approval notice and make sure it states on there that they transfer the case to the National Visa Center. One issue we have, and I've done a lot of videos on this, so we get every day 2 to 3 people with this major problem, is they accidentally mark that they're going to do the case in the US and not through the embassy system. And because of that, even though the foreign relative is outside and they have to go through the embassy, USCIS keeps the petition in the United States and doesn't send it out. And for you to make that request for them to send it out to an embassy overseas or a National Visa Center, you have to make a separate request with Form I-24, which costs a lot more money, and between 3 months to 12 to 15 months before they'll transfer it. So it's a nightmare, a big time nightmare if that happens. And unfortunately, because we have so many people contacting us, there's probably thousands of people every year, if not more, multiple thousands, who get hit with this because they did the case themselves and they weren't aware how strict this issue becomes. So you want to check your I-130 approval notice to make sure that the information there is correct. And that it says that the case is being transferred to the National Visa Center, not staying and remaining with USCIS internally, which then turns into a headache and a big nightmare. But Kid, just hope everything goes well with your case, and thank you for your question. Thank you for watching this educational program. To get the latest videos, click the subscribe button and the notification bell icon. Also, help us help the immigrant community by liking this video and sharing it with your family and friends. You can also find us on other social media sites like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Twitter, where you find the latest updates on immigration news, policy changes, and tips. Be safe and God bless. See you soon.